Good morning, everybody. Today, Monday, February 13th, getting a very late jump here. It's 10 to 9. Had to take Maximus to school while my wife was feeling like crap. So, what we're going to do is about as quick a homework uh, as possible. Just going to focus on oil. I'm not going to do S&P this morning. So let me just shift value area high, value area low, and VPOC to show us what we had on Friday. And let's take overnight on low. Okay, so that gives us from Friday and for overnight today. Let's take a look at what happened overnight. Let's blow this back up. So we have our close. Actually, our Friday close happens right around. Actually, right about here. Let's see. Friday's close happens right around here. So it's a couple ticks off of where this is showing. I'm not going to explain why right now. So almost all inventory overnight is net short, which means we're going to potentially look for a bounce at the open, a bounce back up, and let's come into our homework chart. Since we have remained inside this microcomposite, in fact, really just balanced on Friday. Nice trading day for us Friday too, for the little bit that we were in front of the screen. Let's take a look at some expectations, see where we're trading right now. We are currently at 53.43. So let's give ourselves a mark there, some space. And 1 second before I do this. That's good. So 53.43. Here we go. So expectation number one is going to be a push down, microcomposite VPOC chop. That's, I'm not saying something go down here. That's a bad drawing. Let me redraw this. Push down, microcomposite VPOC chop, retest, hold, make a move back up towards yesterday's low to fill the gap from yesterday. Test here, maybe bounce around, come back to retest this form of VPOC, microcomposite VPOC, and then come and test yesterday's range. That's expectation number one. Expectation number two is going to be an open test microcomposite VPOC, break it, get underneath it, test it from the bottom as resistance. If that breaks, we're expecting to come in to test this VPOC here from Thursday's trading, maybe all the way down to value area low in this area here where we see some swings and so on. So that's going to be expectation number two. Expectation number three is going to be open with a strong drive towards this form of VPOC, closing the gap from Friday, which I'll draw, put that level in here just a second, have this hold. Now we've pushed down, come in to test microcomposite VPOC, and then we're going to see if we get below it and holds its resistance, or if we get above it, holds a support, and then we come back really to expectation number one, getting into yesterday's range, ultimately trying to test VPOC. That's going to be three. That's everything for today's homework. Let's look to see if there were any levels on Friday that were pretty much ignored, and we have one down here, this swing. So I'm just going to move this down because that swing is no longer valid for us. We're going to keep this one on because of the fact that we ticked above it. You know, you can see wicks of candles above it. We never really traded above it, so we're going to leave that one on there. And I'm going to add a new one for the high of Friday. Remember, highs, lows, swing highs, those are going to be marked as dashes. Former microcomposite VPOCs are going to be marked as dots and dashes, and former VPOCs from daily profiles are going to be marked as dots. And that is the fastest I can possibly do homework. So there we go. Let's take a look at what's happening right now with the overnight trading, see what's been going on. Sorry, before we do that, let's pull up news. Let's just see what time we have news today. Okay, so I got nothing. No news. Should be a clear day for trading. Let's see. Let's take a look. Stretch out overnight trading. Kind of see what's happened here. Okay, so we've made a push down. Then we opened up. We tested VPOC from Friday. Made a push down. This former swing level, former microcomposite VPOC actually held with some divergence. That was a nice little trade setup if anybody was trading at 1:30, almost 2 in the morning. Then we come through. You see here how we push through this level with a nice big bearish bar. We now expect this level to become resistance. We push through, we come back up. It does turn into resistance here. 21 EMA is here with it. You get a nice little doji candle here. A lot of good opportunity here to potentially take a short if you wanted to try to short this pullback. And then we continue further down, touching overnight low. No divergence down there. Here again, we start pushing up away from it. Don't really see any trade entry. Push up, make a pullback all the way back down, all the way back down. Although I still don't see a trade entry here. The only thing possibly is you have zero line being tested in 2 of the BBs down at the bottom. But I like I said, I really don't see anything here. You make a push up, create new highs in the BBs. Just make sure I'm saying I'm accurate with that. Yes, so no divergence there, no negative divergence to throw us an indicator of a short. And then we come back and we pull down to this support level that had held before. Strong bearish bar, a little bit of an indecisive bar, strong bullish bar. There's a great trading pattern right there at the end of this move down at a level that we've been watching. And if we scroll further over to the right, we actually just got divergence here on all 3 of our charts. So this was another nice potential trade entry. You would still be in your contracts. You wouldn't have been out of your first contract if you were looking for a 10-tick profit target. So at this point, you kind of have to wait and see what happens. For the potential of an open of the day trade, remember this particular type of trade, this open of the day trade, is not the same as what it is. I'm trying to show you guys in methodology as far as the BB indicator, the divergence, and so on. This is strictly a trade to see if we can catch momentum and begin to learn a little bit better how the momentum functions at the open. So let's see what time we got. Just over a minute to the open. All right, I guess I could take a breath now. Last night I did probably had to end up being maybe 5 hours, not 5, about 5 hours in time, but maybe 4 hours worth of review of the basics, some of the very basics of trading. Something as simple as reading a candle and understanding what support means, resistance means, looking at moving averages, not getting into information that's unnecessary, just focusing on information that you can use and ultimately try to use to make money trading. We got as far as just touching on volume profile to the extent of what is the value area, what does VPOC mean, value area high, value area low, high volume node, low volume node, just definitions really. Now, as soon as possible, I'm going to try to have another one of those sessions with whoever would like to be a part of that, to start get. Oh, hang on, never mind. Look at this quick push down to this. This is exactly where I want to take a trade. 3 here again. This is just an attempt to try to read momentum. This has nothing to do with any of the other stuff that I've been showing you. Okay, so please, regardless of this is a winner or loser, do not look at this and say, okay, here's what we can learn from this based on what we looked at. So let me let me put out some orders here. First profit target is going to be 10 ticks. We're going to look for a quick push up. It's actually going to be a little bit above that. We're going to no, it's going to stay at 10 ticks. See here we have these two little spikes that are coming in at 51. I want to be 2 ticks above that, below that. So first profit target is going to be 49. Second profit target is going to be ahead of this. You can see back here one of the things I was talking about last night, head and shoulders. You see a push up here, reversal, head, reversal, possible second shoulder. So the second profit target for this is going to be underneath the lowest shoulder. So I'm actually going to come down here. It's 59. So let's do 57. Third profit target is, oh, well, overnight high is way up here, huh? That's interesting. That's interesting. The second profit target might be a little bit early. Let's come up a couple of ticks here. Let's call it 60, and then third profit target is going to be still underneath this here. Now again, okay, never mind profit targets. Now at this point, we're going to just keep an eye out, looking for opportunities off of levels. We're coming into a nice congestion of levels here. We're going to watch to see if we can get some type of setup with some positive divergence down here. A lot of volume in this little push down. You can see we've already created VPOC in this immediate push down. And it's early in the day, so those levels happen quickly. This early, it's easy for a level to become VPOC. But when it happens just like that, usually that means exactly what you're seeing here. You're going to get a little bit of continuation. All right, so another opening of the day trade not working out, which is why we've talked about there will be none of that when we're trading live. That is strictly for trying to fine tune some of that. Now at this point we wait. Came through overnight low. We're going to watch to see now, the way we came through that with all that force. We're kind of in a bit of an indecisive area here, because I like having all these areas down here, all these levels for potential support. We have overnight low that we bust through. So really what I'd like to see happen would be push back up through overnight low, kind of consolidate a little bit, set up divergence, and give us a chance to go long right around in this area. But really going to have to see how that sets up, because we have a little bit of a gap between this last level here, this VPOC 5320 down to 5302. So that's not a great scaling opportunity to get into the position. We'd have to really put all our risk on somewhere around here, instead of putting on some risk scaling, because I don't want to just scale because of this distance. I'd want other levels in there to scale. Like for example, this is a really good example. So let's say I'm looking to get long. Let's say something sets up, right? Let's say we get price action that looks like this, right? So we come down, we slow down, we come down. Now we start consolidating, go up a little, consolidate, and now we start pulling back. And in the meantime, the VBs give us divergence. Okay, so what I would look to do at that point is try to get some in here. Let's just say here, try to get some here, try to get some in here, maybe even all the way down to here. That's okay, because all of those scales are happening at a level that matters to us. To do it in this area, although the prices the price difference from the entries from the first potential entry at 20 to the second to the last potential entry at about 02, it's 18 ticks. But to just pick in the middle to add into a scale, I'm really just picking a random number. Where if I do it here, 86, 76, 66, it's 68, same 18 tick range from here to here and here to here, but the difference is now I have a level to scale in the middle. So that's why I don't want to scale on the way down here. I'd be much more interested in if what sets up is a potential short opportunity, if we get a pullback. Right now we've moved down. Low of day is currently 15. We can get a pullback to mid overnight low. I like how these numbers are starting to create some confluence. Opening range mid, IB mid, and daily mid are always going to be the same for the first 5 minutes of trading. The opening range, so now that I say after the first 5 minutes, this opening range mid is not going to change. This is what it was. In the first 5 minutes, this is the middle of the high and low. The IB, the initial balance, is going to go for the first hour. So for the entire first hour, the initial balance and the mid of the day will be the same, because at that up until the first hour, those two numbers are equal. The IB, the initial balance, is measuring high and low for the first hour. Daily mid is measuring high and low for the entire day. When we get out of the first hour, that IB mid will be locked in place. But if we continue to move in price and we get either a higher high or a lower low, which would change the definition of the middle of the day. Remember, the middle of the day is the high plus the low divided by 2. So if the high goes higher, the mid goes higher. If the low goes lower, the mid goes lower. If you stay inside the high and the low, the mid doesn't change. So opening range mid is first 5 minutes. IB mid is the first hour. Daily mid is the entire day. So we've come down below this congested area of potential support. I'll tell you what, we could be setting up here for a trend day. That's a strong push down at the open. No major pullback. No major pullback to get short on. We've come through overnight low very aggressively. We also started in a gap down. All right, if I come up here, yesterday's close is here. Yesterday's low is here. So we've started in a gap down. We've continued in the direction down. That is, we are looking at the potential setup of a trend day. And if we have that in mind, we're going to look to see if we can't sell any pullbacks. And right now, we talked about scaling. Right now, we're going to see a potentially good scaling opportunity between these levels all the way up to overnight low, and using protective stops above overnight low if we decide to take a trade. We're continuously testing the low here. VPOC has not yet shifted from what we saw before. Wait a minute. I shouldn't say that. I think the one we saw happen before was this high volume node here. That is first blue one here. So VPOC, we have 2 price points that are almost identical in volume here. So at this point, what I'm watching for, and what we're going to watch for some potential entries here. I'm watching for a pullback into this. Oopsie. I don't know why my pen's not working. No. So I'm going to watch for a pullback into this last area of consolidation, which lines up with today's VPOC, former VPOC, and I'm going to be willing to scale all the way in from right around, we'll say 18, 19. I'm willing to scale all the way in to 29. So I would do around 18, 19. I'd probably do about 24, maybe a couple ticks ahead of 29. I'd like actually a little bit of a wider scale, but we'll deal with that. we'll deal with that if that even sets itself up, because right now all we're seeing is push down, quick consolidation, push down, consolidation, push down, consolidation. All very strong signs of a continued move downward. Next level we're going to start watching for 5302. Level beneath that, 5292. Strong push down. You know, it's fun. It's ironic because I talk about inventory net long, net short, and like I said, that concept really comes from the S&P, where the overnight trading, the assumption is the people trading overnight are so bad, they're the weakest of the traders, that you just assume whatever they did is going to be corrected. Oil, that doesn't seem to be the case. And one of the things that we looked at, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, is if you look at the volume that trades in oil overnight, it's about half of what trades during the pit session, the regular trading hours. In the S&P, it's less than 10%. In the S&P, if you get 1 million shares traded during the day, you only get about 100,000 overnight. What that's telling me, and we've seen with our opening of the day trades, how many of them go against us, is I'm using this concept of inventories net short, so I'm expecting to get a bounce up. In oil, it's been the opposite. If inventory is net short, we've been moving in the direction of that inventory at the open, and we've done that. I don't want to say 100% of the time, but we've done that fairly consistently. So it's something I might just have to start thinking about as we watch more and more of these open of the day trades. And again, don't let those confuse you. I don't care if the next 10 of them go right until I can actually put words to why they went right. Here's what we looked at, here's why it worked. Forget those. That's part of my learning, something I want to try to add to my trading skill. It's not a skill I have yet, and not one that you should be trying to learn from me. Look at how exact this is. Comes down, touches the low right at this former microcomposite VPOC 5302. That doesn't mean it's not going to break, but it's always fascinating to me how many times these levels hold to the tick. And there's something called a random line theory, where you could just draw random lines on a chart, and they'll hold. And for the most part, I guess that's true. If you draw enough random lines and you go back far enough in history, you'll find them hold. But these lines come from something. These are not random. These aren't getting pulled out of our ass. These are coming off. In this case, it's a previous microcomposite VPOC. In this case, it's a previous VPOC, swing high, swing low. These levels come from somewhere. It is always amazing to me how well this holds. We're gonna put an order to get short here. We're gonna start at 17. Where's the VWAP right now? 18. We're gonna move that down to 16. I don't know if we're gonna get a high enough spike to get it. Actually, I'm gonna come down to 15. I want to be below this low volume node at 16. So if we can get a push up, I want to take my first entry at about 15. I'm going to look to take another entry right around 5320. Actually, we're going to stretch that out a little. We're going to go to 22, kind of in the middle of these levels. 21. I want to be below that little spike up there. Third entry is going to be below overnight low. So I'm currently setting up the potential opportunity to scale into a short position. Now, let's look at why we're doing that. Number one, obviously we've had a strong push down at the open, strong push. We're getting divergence in the 610, a little bit in the 987, but we're not really getting any in the 1597. Now, that's certainly if we get into our trades, because price action would come up, you would also see a turn up in the BBs. But if we get into all of these trades, we're going to be in at about an average price of about 21, maybe 22. That means 12 is our first profit target, which gives us plenty of room to current low of day. Now, the second thing I am now starting to watch for in the meantime is, are we going to get a potential setup to go long with this positive divergence. We do have positive divergence on the 610, very slight on the 987. I'm not too keen on it just yet, but we could actually look to play both sides of this. We could actually look to try to get long at 03, 04, and then look to try to get out and get short at 15. This is actually starting to read more like a reversal. I'm going to get rid of this first entry point here. This is starting to shape up into where you get a pullback. You don't get to the bottom. Your BBs start to turn. This is starting to roll over. If price continues to move up, we will see a turn here. So I'm not too keen on the first entry right now. I think I'd have to wait and kind of let this continue to set up. I'm leaving these orders in here because if we do ultimately turn, let's say we do this, okay? Let's say we start consolidating and come down, and we find a decent long entry. I'm still going to want to have my profit targets here, okay? So I know right now we're using these as potential entries for a short, but even if the other scenario happens where we do get enough divergence in the BBs that we decide to go look for a long on another attempt towards the low, these will still become profit targets. But remember, the way it works is orders are treated first in, first out. So I would leave these orders on so that I'm already in my order queue to try to get out of my trade if I ultimately get into a trade. But certainly I will continue to practice the art of patience, which I know I'm not very good at. Getting much better at it. I've leaps and bounds better than I was, a month and a half ago or so. Let's see here. Okay, so we started to consolidate again down here. This is the first longer duration consolidation today. So far, everything is push down, quick consolidation, push down, quick consolidation, stair step down. Now we've started to take our time to consolidate, which is going to almost automatically create divergence in the short-term BBs, and you can see it in the 610. It's very obvious. 987, it's fairly obvious. The 1597, it's not yet. They flattened out. They've certainly slowed down with the momentum. But with a lot of times what you'll see in the BBs is you'll get a move down like this, and this ends up just being a bear flag. That retracement just ends up being a bear flag before the ultimate next move down. So certainly right now the feel is I'd rather be short than long right now, but not really setting up in a way yet that I'm all that convinced. So here comes a push up. The way these BBs have turned, I don't really like the idea of getting short up here. So if we get closer and closer to that price, I'm going to cancel those trades. In fact, I got to see what my hotkey is for that. I try as much as possible to use my keyboard instead of my mouse, predominantly just because that's what I'm so used to from my old trading days. Let's see, cancel last order. That. Oh, I cancel all orders. I don't think I can. Okay, no problem. It would be the mouse. Okay, so again, really clear turn up in the BBs 610, 987, even 1597 has now started rolling up. At this point, I am interested in potentially taking a long trade. This certainly, it happened a little too quickly for me to have gotten on board, but this certainly was the beginning of a setup here, this little pullback. So I'm going to pull these over right now. We're coming back into this consolidation, and certainly we could look at this as a potential short entry up here. Again, this is just looking to me like you're we have the potential for a pullback and an effort to try to go long down here. It looks like we might have put the low in for a little while right now. This would have been a bit of an overly aggressive trade for me. This pullback and buy a little too aggressive for me. This was starting to kind of read better, to take a long in here as the BB started drifting upwards a little bit. This was starting to become a little bit more of a comfortable potential trade opportunity. But still, where am I going? If I get into it at 8 or 9 cents, I have to get above 21 EMA, above VWAP, and I haven't done that yet today. So I'm not still not crazy about that. Now with the 1597 joining in on our side as far as showing divergence, now it's a bit more of an enticing trade if we get a pullback. On the flip side, remember, I'm still watching to see if I can't get a nice short, but I'm not looking to scale in. I'm going to want this to retrace quite a bit. Got to get closer to the mid before I start scaling in, because I don't. This consolidation area still might hold as your first point of resistance. So we'll have to look. We'll have to see. I might have pulled those orders a little early. Maybe should have left some of those in there. It's okay. If we see the setup and we like it, I'll just sell it at market. For those of you who trade second entry shorts, we are currently at a count of 1 to the short side. Here's your low, push up, nice bearish candle, signal bar, first entry short. Now we're waiting. We have not yet gotten a clean signal bar and a second entry short yet. We're starting to consolidate here, matching up with this previous lower area of consolidation. What I'm potentially suspecting to happen here is this, and what that would ultimately be is a broken inverse head and shoulders. If I were to go to a slightly larger tick chart, this would look more like this. And then I'd be looking for that. That's kind of what I'm watching for now on a buying opportunity. Can we pull back? Can we pull back to about here? But what has not yet happened, and again, depends on the time frame you're looking at. Short time frame, low, high, lower low, lower high. But here we get our higher low, and we just came and we broke this here. So we have the beginning of a short-term uptrend. Hang on one second. So here again, now we're starting to consolidate, matching up with this consolidation. This is a little, for me, this is this little bit indecisive. You know, again, I was talking before about I didn't take a long trade. I didn't take a long trade down here after we made our move down. We pulled up a little bit and then we started to retrace, and we did start getting the BBs in our favor. I didn't take this trade because profit target just wasn't enough for me to our first 10 ticks. So now there's that break. There's a break. I still actually would not have been out of that trade, and that's not to say that I won't be. That's not to say that it won't ultimately work out right, but it just wasn't something that I was interested in. We've now come into this consolidation level. This is now starting to be where I'm looking to try to get a short. Again, I'd like it to come further up because 02 is my lower day, which means I want to put my profit target at about 05. So I need to be into this at an average of 15 or better. So this is not bad. This is not bad. I want to see, I wouldn't mind seeing one more push, get up right to this swing area, value area high, right in this region here to give us our short entry. But I am willing to start getting into a trade, even exactly where we are right now, if that's the way it sets up. So this consolidation here, overlapping with this consolidation here, it does have the looks. It does have the looks of a broken inverse head and shoulders, right? So we can be looking at another launch point here, but I'm still looking at this overall as more of a, I'd rather be short than long. I just don't want to get overly aggressive with my entry price because of this, what looks to be lots of bullish divergence from the current low. You know, as price will move back down towards the low, we will absolutely have divergence in these BBs. So that means that I don't expect us to break this low just yet. So I don't want to be short too close to the low of the day. Even if that means I missed the trade, that's completely okay. I don't want to be short too close to the low of the day. So I'm looking for one of two things to happen right now. I'm looking for further push up towards the middle of the day and overnight low to see if we can't get some type of short entry. And I'm looking to start getting short. I might have missed my first entry here. I'm looking to start getting short in this consolidation. And we did get a little spike up here. So, you know, if had I left my original order out there at, what was it, 19, I think it was, I still don't think I'd be short anyhow. But I'm looking to start trying to get short with a decent setup here and add on to that position all the way till about overnight low. You know, you guys hear me talk about all the time. I look for reasons to stay out of trades. So far, not having profit potential is one of those reasons. The second thing I'm looking to set up is a little bit more of a pullback down, maybe down to about, in fact, I'm going to actually put an order in here at 04. If we pull down to 04, I'm going to want to take my first contract long. We will at that point have divergence. I'm willing to scale all the way down if need be, down towards 84, 85, 86. Actually even higher, probably closer towards, let me see, this is 86, so all the way down to 88. So I'm willing to scale all the way down there as long as we continue to have our divergence. Now we might not, if price ultimately trades down there, we might lose the divergence on the BBs, but we'll react to that if need be. A couple of things that can take this trade off the table, or take the short idea off the table. You see here we've created a low, a high. Let me draw it out. Low, high, higher low, higher high. Potentially we just created another higher low. We're slowly stair stepping up in what is a short-term uptrend. But still, ultimately, I love the congestion of levels here. We have levels that we found from homework. We even have dynamic levels. Remember, a dynamic level, we just had the opening of the S&P, so we just hit 930. Let's see if that does anything to oil. A dynamic level is a level that is developed during the day. This is a nice little setup here. I really want to take a quick long, but I just have too much above me that I'd be afraid, that I am afraid for where my profit target would need to be. I'd have to get through all of this for that to make sense. And again, it's just not. Even if that means I go the entire morning and I don't get a trade, I'd rather do that than force an entry. Which again, if you were watching me trade, I guess at this point it's about 5 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago, you would have seen me fuck up trades here probably 3 or 4 times. And the patience is a big skill for me. It was the hardest skill to develop, and I'm still developing it. And the fact that I've been patient so far today is great. But believe me, I got an itchy trigger finger. Mike, after everything last night, did you end up coming up with any questions that you want to ask? And by the way, just remember you need to unmute yourself in case you haven't.
Good morning.
There it is. Let's see. Let's see what. All right, cool beans. So I'll do a quick review with you as to what we looked at this morning. So we opened up today in a very large gap down. Let me show you here. On this chart, every candle is 1 hour, okay? And I only show candles from the regular trading hours, so I don't show overnight trading. So this chart has gaps a lot, okay, because things happen overnight. You see that? So we opened up in a gap down, and with gap downs, we assume we're going to continue in the direction of the gap until proven otherwise. There were some other things that I looked at this morning. So right off the bat, I was looking for a quick move down to try to buy, which has nothing to do with what I was teaching you guys yesterday. It's a completely different trading style. Not even something you guys should be paying attention to yet. It's something I'm trying to, get better at, but not something like if I would, let's just say I decide to start trading live money next week, which I might, I won't be making those trades. This is part of a learning curve for me. But after this initial push down, we started seeing some support down at these levels, but ultimately we came through it. No potential trade setup for us. We continued to see a push down, came right to the tick to this level here. If you remember yesterday, I was showing you guys when I draw a swing high or a swing low, the dashed line. So this red dashed line is a former swing high or swing low. Doesn't matter where it comes from. We know it's on there, so we know it matters. When you see a dash and dot like this, if you remember, one of the types of volume profiles was called a micro composite, where you can pick where it starts and where it finishes. And what these dot dash lines are, those are VPOCs from those micro composites. Okay, so that's what those lines mean. So it is really cool how to the tick it touched this micro composite VPOC and traded away. Actually, we're looking to see maybe getting into a long here. And then these dots, these are the VPOCs, which a VPOC is volume point of control. It's the highest traded price. I'm sorry, the most traded price, not the highest price, the most traded price of a previous day. So that's what we're seeing on here. This orange line is the overnight low. I have another orange line. It's the overnight high. And as we find more lines, I'll explain them to you. But on my charts, if you understand, which this is all fairly easy to understand once the terminology makes sense. If you understand what each shape means, you can easily look at the chart and kind of see what's cooking here. All right, so we're into our first long. We're going to put our stops out below these levels here. And again, as I said, I'm willing to scale down pretty well here. All the way above 87, 88. Our entry is 04. Profit target is going to be 14. This really could be. We really could be catching the low of the morning right now, just by the way this is setting up. And I don't want to make that assumption, of course. We if we did, that's great. If we didn't, so be it. But what I'm going to be looking for is if we do push down, I'm going to look to add on to this position at probably about 90. 84, and I'm going to add all the way down to 89 would be the last spot I would want to add into this. Obviously, if it starts going in our favor, because I only have one contract, what I'm going to do is, just in case we got it right, I'm not going to put my profit target at 10 ticks. What I'm going to do is, once we get to a 10 tick profit target, I'm going to start paying attention to what's happening with the price action. Are we, do we get up to there and it just slows down? Do we break right through VWAP? Because we haven't done that yet. If you take a look, we opened today, we were below 21 EMA, where we opened below VWAP. We push down, we test VWAP. VWAP holds its resistance. We get above the 21 EMA. To me, VWAP is more important than the 21 EMA. So, but still, technically, really, although we get above the 21 EMA, we come right back below it. So, if we push right now, we get above VWAP. We're going to watch to see if we can get above, hold above, and see if VWAP turns into support. We do have a lot of congestion in here, and I would not hesitate for a second if ultimately we get up into these price levels and we find what we consider a decent short setup. I wouldn't hesitate for a second to close out of this trade and then reverse it and go short from up there. But the only reason I'm not putting my profit target there is because if I'm right and this setup does represent what's ultimately going to be a low for a substantial amount of time, the next few hours, possibly rest of the day, I only have one contract, so I'm willing to give it a little bit of extra room to work. Let's see what happens. We're up 8 ticks right now. Let's see what happens if we get to VWAP here. Okay, so I have it set up to automatically move my stop to break even and get that fuck out of there. All right, that's what we want to see. We want to see a push above VWAP, but we want to see it hold. We need to get above this previous swing high. We're back into this area of consolidation. That's going to chap my ass. I probably should be closing this for my 10 ticks and look for my next trade opportunity. And you know what? I have a rule. I'm out 10 ticks. I have a rule. If you start a sentence with "I probably should," you should. So. That's it. You can't go broke taking a profit, even if this skyrockets right now. With everything we're seeing on this screen, I'd still look to try to go short up in this area. This is not high enough for me to go short. It is a decent profit target because we got a great entry price. I mean, you just saw for me, in my opinion, almost a perfect trade. We got in right above the low. We had all the reasons to do it. You see the divergence in the BBs down there?
Right.
On all three of them, okay, on the 610, the 987, and 1597, every one of them are showing divergence. As we come back to test the static level, this former microcomposite VPAC that was on this chart before we started trading today, and now you have a dynamic level, a level that was created today, and that is the low of day. So we have a couple of good reasons to be in here. We only went into one contract just because it would not have surprised me to push through below this to test these levels below. I think we'd still have divergence even if we did that. I think the divergence would have held, and we would have added into the contract. I got out of my position because I have enough things up here to tell me that it might be tough for price to get above here. That doesn't mean it won't. The market can do whatever the fuck it wants to whenever it wants to. But you play what you see. You try to get as much information as possible. You play what you see. So I don't want to go short here. There's definitely definitely nothing in the indicators, nothing in the BBs to tell me that this is a potential short. I'm also looking over at the ES. All the charts with the reddish background represent the S&P. All the charts with the black background represent oil. So you'll see the larger S&P chart here with the 3 BBs beneath it. We're looking that we just came and made a new high of the day, but you'll see the BBs in the smallest S&P time frame, the 1597. You'll see there's a little negative divergence there, but nothing else showing negative divergence. So we would not be looking to go short here at all. I did not do homework on the S&P. I started very late today. I had to take Maximus to school because Jan still feels like crap. So I don't have all my levels drawn on the S&P, so I'm not going to take a trade on there. I knew that would be the case when I started doing my homework today. You can see right now, it looks like we got out at a real good price so far. That could absolutely change. VWAP is looking like it might be trying to hold a support here. We came above it. We have a couple of wicks in the candles coming below, but we're actually closing and trading above it. This looks like it might be starting to turn into support.
It's ticking up.
Yeah, it's ticking up, which, you know, chaps my ass a little bit. I'd like to still be in my trade, but that's okay. That's all right. That's again, there were plenty of good reasons to want to get out of that trade. I'm not looking to get short just yet. We are getting to price points that I am interested in potentially taking a short here. Just want to see. So let's see, from here to here to here. Right, nothing. Really nothing yet. Could have gotten it. I had an order earlier to try to get short 53.19, and the reason for it was we consolidated here, and kind of middle of that consolidation was 53.19. So I was looking to try to get short 53.19, which is also ahead of these three levels here, and I would have scaled my entry all the way up to the overnight low, and my protective stop would have been above the overnight low. So I was stalking that trade before. Even if I had my order in, I don't know that I would have been filled yet because we just barely touched 19. And just because you touch it doesn't mean you get filled, unless you're wrong. If you're wrong, you always get filled. That's the next time we get together to talk about stuff. One of the things I'll teach you guys about is stop orders, limit orders, and market orders, and what the difference is and how they're treated by the market. And by definition, if you put an order in and you're wrong, you will be filled just because of the way the orders work, which is, you know, awesome. You know. If you look over, even though we're not trading it, let's just look at the chart. If you look over at the S&P and the correlating BBs underneath it, BBs are still showing uptrend, starting from the first candle of the day, which you can see represented by the vertical line in the BBs and on the trigger chart. You can see that BBs are making new highs right now, price are making new highs right now. So there's nothing to show us any potential reversal. We're also trading at all-time highs. So I have no interest in going short because I have no levels above me to use as resistance levels. So while the S&P is trading at an all-time high, the only trades I would make are long. And, you know, something really crazy would have to set up for me to even consider a short trade on that. Taking a look back here at oil. Notice one thing that we didn't talk about yesterday. If you look here at this left corner, the bottom left, the 610 BBs, you'll notice that the BBs are currently testing the zero line. Sometimes that zero line is actually a point of support or resistance. And right now, since we're coming up beneath it, that could act as a point of resistance as well. I don't really give it too much credence. It has to line up, and I mean, right now it is kind of lining up. We are in an area that I would be willing to try to take a short. We do have huge divergence off this bottom here, though. You know, I mean, you saw it. I'm so glad you got to be here to see the trade. You know, you saw it live. If I tried to explain this to you before yesterday, forget it. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming that you see what I'm talking about. Why we took that trade, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. So now let's see. So we're pushing up further here. We're getting into the area that I would consider wanting to start taking a short. But this is, you know, this has started setting up as like I said, putting in a potential bottom here. I won't lie. I was hoping that when we closed out of our trade that I'd get a chance to take another shot at it on a pullback. I wasn't expecting it to do this. What I'm expecting even less is what could potentially happen here, and that's just to push through all these levels quickly. But that certainly seems to be potentially happening right here. I do want to try to take a short, but I don't have enough going for me here. You know, we just created this double top right there off of this little bump here, so we're going to break that or try to break that. So we have a double top here. We have a couple of points of a couple of levels that have mattered to us that we're looking to see if it'll hold as resistance. I wasn't expecting this, so our good trade could have been a great trade, or at least what I would define as a great trade. Right now, we'd be up almost 20 ticks at the max, a little less, I think. But
20 ticks. What's happening today?
Hey, what's happening, Mike, tonight? So you just missed the first trade, in real time. Mikey Boy got to see it. We went long right down here, and to show you why, we came down, created a low, traded up, came back down. Look at all the divergence in the BBs on the bottom left three boxes. Okay, all the boxes with the black background are for oil, or all the boxes with a slightly redder background is for the S&P. But if you look, we came down, traded away from it, came back down. Look at this divergence in those BBs.
Right.
All three of the time frames we're watching gave us positive divergence. We took it long. I think it was 04. Let's see. Right. Yep, we got long at 04. 3 ticks away from the bottom of the day, and we got out of our trade making a 10, just about a 10 tick profit. Well, it's supposed to be 10 tick, but on demo sometimes they will call it slippage. So we had a 10 tick profit target, which we ultimately got our 10 ticks on. But we were talking about maybe not closing it because we only had one contract and holding on to it to see if we can do exactly what the fuck is happening right now, get above VWAP, see if VWAP holds a support, and if it does, see if we can't make a push higher. So looks like holding on to this trade would have been the better way to go. We didn't, but that's okay. Can't go broke taking a profit. But right now, and unfortunately, I don't see a good opportunity to get back into a long here, other than just saying, okay, I like it, I'm going long, which I won't do. That kind of sucks. I would have liked to have still been in this. Well, yeah, I mean, of course, I say that now. Looking over at the S&P on the right-hand side here, we'll see again, we've been creating new highs of the day. BBs have been going up with us. We're just now seeing a turn down in those BBs, or at least in the first two charts of the BBs. I won't be taking any shorts in the S&P because we are trading at all-time highs, which means I don't have any levels of resistance above us. I don't have any former price points that I can use to say, okay, there's a spot I'm looking for it to turn around and come back down. So if we are trading the S&P, which I'm not right now, the only trades I'm looking to make are long trades. So for now, I'm just focusing on oil, and probably going to continue to bitch about why I got out of that trade. All right, anyhow, we've come back up here. Look, so we consolidated here. We opened the day, had a strong push down, just a one candle consolidation, another push down. Then we started to consolidate a little bit, and I've mentioned a few times today that what I'm looking for is a pullback into this consolidation to give me a chance to go short. If you remember last night, I was telling you guys how many times I fucking plan and don't execute. I think you might have just witnessed it. You might have just witnessed it. So initially I was considering going short 19. Second short was going to be right under here, right around 22, and I was looking to add into my position all the way up to here, continue to go short all the way up to here, and then put a stop loss, where if I'm wrong, to get out of my trade above what's the overnight low. And we'll talk about overnight low and stuff in just a second. So have not gotten into a short here. The only reason I haven't really is these BBs still look so strong. Everything is showing upward momentum. But we've kind of halted here. We'll have to see what happens. So what I do is, if you remember, when I set up my charts, I break the trading between the regular trading hours and the overnight session. So if you take a look, the overnight session, the low of that session is right here. And that's a level that we look at as potential support and resistance. All right, it's called a dynamic level. Dynamic levels, like remember yesterday we talked about swing highs and swing lows, and I draw my dashed red lines to show me a swing high or a swing low. Right? You guys remember that?
Yes.
That's a level. That's called a static level. Okay, that's a level that's on this chart well before we start trading today. Then there are levels that happen throughout the day, like the low of the day. That's actually why we went long here. We tested the low of the day. That's a dynamic level. We had our divergence. We were also sitting at a level we had already drawn. This line, the dash dot, That line represents a former microcomposite VPOC. Remember, microcomposite or volume profiles that you get to pick where it starts and where it ends. And the VPOC, the volume point of control, is the most traded price. So I draw that on here. That's been on here probably for weeks. But look how nicely we see it comes down, it tests, goes away, and gives us the setup. Where you look here, it comes down and it tests. I'm not just buying. I'm waiting for a setup to happen at around my level. And that's exactly what happened down here. Now, it looks like it might be happening up here. Again, we're continuing to consolidate here. I'd like to see these BBs turn down just a little bit. Really what I'd love to see, what you missed a second ago, Mike and I, because I was telling Mikey Boy that sometimes this zero line on the BBs, you see one there, you see one here, you see one here. Sometimes these act as support and resistance. What I would love to see happen now is for the BBs to come back below zero line, test it from underneath, let it turn into resistance, and then we push down. Can anybody tell me what the name of this pattern is that I just drew out?
That's a head and shoulders.
Right, so those head and shoulders can happen on the BBs too. So I would love to see a setup like that and maybe use that as a chance to try to get into a short. It looks like I did overanalyze and miss my short entry up here. So now let's see what happens. Let's see if we can get back below VWAP. So right now VWAP has held as support. We broke it from underneath, so the resistance failed. It had held the support for a little bit here. We're now breaking it from the top side. We're trading beneath it right now, but we want to see this candle actually get through it and close. Motherfucker. All right, so we missed the trade here. No problem. So you remember what I was telling you yesterday, okay? It's a great thing to plan. It's even better to execute, and that is part of developing your trading skill, right? Being able to call this out and see it beforehand, I love that. I couldn't be prouder of that. I mean, if you end up watching the video, you'll hear me talk about this at 9:00. I don't know. Let's see, what time did it happen? I'm gonna say at about 9:10. You'll see me talk about. All right, I'm gonna look for a pullback to get to about here. Well, the pullback just happened. I'm not quite sure where I was, but the pullback just happened. And actually, I would already be out of my first contract with my 10-tick profit target, and then we would see what would happen from there. So you can see what's happening here. We're forming a channel. Here's our high. Here's our low. So we're going to see, are we going to remain in this channel? And don't get me wrong, if we stay in this channel and this channel stays this wide, this is great trading opportunity. That's a lot of movement. I don't expect it to stay in that channel, and I don't expect it to stay that wide. I expect it to do something more along the lines. If it's going to get out of the channel upwards, it'll be more like that. I don't expect it to be like this. That doesn't mean it can't. Remember, the market can do whatever the hell it wants. But a pullback like this, it might just be trying to build up some energy here. Look what we're doing. We're testing zero line from above here. We're testing the zero line to see if that's going to hold the support. That's going to be interesting. I don't want to take a trade from the middle of this channel. I'd rather get into one towards one of the extremes unless something changes. On this pullback, we still have divergence at the bottom, whether I start with this low and I come to here, or I start with this low and I come to here. We have divergence in these BBs. So another pullback down to here, I would probably consider taking another long. But I'd want to see what happens between here and there.
Sorry, my assistant Bobby just got into the office. We just connected.
That's cool beans. Bobby in the building.
Bobby's in the building. So if you look back over here,
yeah, yep.
where you have all this consistency with the low and then where it started and climbed up, and then all of a sudden it took that and came down and then came here and went back. Is this consolidation right here?
Yes, exactly right.
Okay.
So what you're actually seeing potentially set up, and man, I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive I drew this out before. What you're actually seeing set up is a broken head and shoulders. Okay, actually, let me be a little bit more precise. So you get your push down. There's your shoulder. You get a second attempt at a run up. You double test the bottom. if we went to a longer time frame candle, this would smooth out and it would look more like this. That I'm gonna need to give it some lines. It would look more like this. And we might have just right here tested this earlier shoulder right here. We might be seeing support, so we're going to watch that. I'm not looking to take a trade off of this just yet. There's not enough for me to want to get in. I'm still looking to see if this will pull back further, give us potentially another long opportunity. I still am a little bit, pissed that I didn't take my short up here as planned for. But now we're watching for one of two things to happen. All right, we might get a little more consolidation in here, a push back up where the BBs have come below zero line and a retest back at it. That's one potential setup that we would look to try to take a short on. On the flip side, although what time is it? Actually, guys, I'm actually just about to wrap up, so there won't be any more trades today. But another potential setup would be consolidation here, retest of the low while we still have divergence in the BBs for a long, and we would basically get into that long and look to see if we can't come and test the opposite end of this channel, maybe not all the way to the top, maybe somewhere around here, basically the middle of this consolidation level that we saw there. So I'll stay in front of the screen for a little bit longer, but I'm not going to get into any trades. One of the things you'll see a lot is if I do get into a trade and I'm ready to leave, I place my stop price, which we haven't talked about what those are yet, but I'll get into more detail next time. I'll place my stop price, which is my protective order. If I'm wrong, that's my maximum risk, and I'll place my profit targets, and that's it. I'll walk away from the screen, and whatever happens, happens. That's just part of the way I do my trading. When it's time for me to wrap it up, and I have a contract on or several contracts on, I don't necessarily just close my position. I don't have to do that.
Hey guys, you have a great day. I got to get to the office. I'll see you in the morning.
All right, man.
Okay, bye-bye.
See you later.
I don't know how many phones he's got in there, but every one of them were ringing.
Hey, how are you? How's everything?
It was pretty good.
Not showing much body on those candles, is it?
Yeah, so you're seeing a bunch of dojis one after another. That's generally a level of indecisiveness. We're not the only ones that see this channel. So nobody wants to. I shouldn't say that. No one should be looking to try to just take a trade in the middle of this channel. They want to see what's going to be the driving force. Are we going to shoot down? Are we going to shoot up? So it's not surprising to see consolidation happen in the middle of the channel like this. Let's just take a look over at ES just for a second before I wrap it up. So we opened, we pushed higher. BB's confirmed that push higher. You see on the shortest on the 1597, you got a little bit of divergence early, but there was no other divergence. None of the other two were helping there. And again, not that I would be looking to go short, but just to kind of see it together. Then we create new highs. The BBs are creating new highs. That's a nice sign that we're still potentially in an uptrend. Here's a pullback. If I were trading this, looking to go long, these are some of the levels I'd be looking to watch. Overnight high, the middle, what's called an opening range mid, and I'll get into that next time. The open, there's a lot of levels in here that give us some potential to want to maybe take a long trade. BBs, on the other hand, are actually showing you also what's called hidden divergence. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, where you go from this low to this low, that's sloping up. At the same time, this low to this low is drastically down, and that's actually happening on 2 of the 3 here. You're not getting it on the longest time frame. That's a bullish sign. That's a nice sign for a potential entry. So I wouldn't be surprised with the way this is setting up. I'll draw this out. I wouldn't be surprised to get a push, not necessarily break, because I think we're going to have negative divergence if we push back up there. But I wouldn't be surprised to get a little bit of a push, certainly enough to get your 8 tick profit target. This is what, 23.19, about 23.1975. So your profit target should be 21.75. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if we get a push up to here, and then potential failure because of negative divergence. Now, I don't have a level up here, so there's no way I'd be trading that potential failure, but But this was a nice pullback into an area that has some dynamic levels that we want to watch. Overnight high, the actual open of the day. Oh, let me get rid of one of those. I don't need to see the open twice. Let's see. Show. You see oil is just, that's it. We've landed in quicksand. So not much happened today with oil. We got one trade, got it right, which is great. No complaints there. Could have done a little bit better on it. Could have held out for a few more ticks. Could have taken a larger position. And again, those are the things that I'm interested in fine tuning, but not nearly as interested in fine tuning my entries. Right. For me, whoa, here we come. We got to move again. I'm not going to take the trade because I do have to go, but this is setting up for another good long opportunity here. And again, I would want to scale in. Actually, I would be in my first position right now. I would take a first contract on, and then I would scale all the way down. I'd be willing to scale all the way down to here, adding into my position. And we'll see if it comes back up, can get through this area of consolidation. Should be long right now, about 05. 15 would be your first profit target. Not a great place for your first profit target because it's at the top of this consolidation, but that's where I would put it. And I would look, if I had more than one contract, I'd start looking to get out of my second contract right around here, call it about 18 or so. Not a huge potential move in this trade, but one of the things that a lot of traders get wrong is they expect every trade to be a giant move, and that's just not the way it goes. And sometimes by getting out responsibly, like we saw earlier today, sometimes you miss what's further, what's available to you. But here's the thing: if you don't get out responsibly, like we did earlier today, it's not surprising when a trade turns around and comes against you. Now, in our case, our entry was so good. Our entry at 04 was so good. At worst, we've only been able to get into more of it. Our trade has never come against us. That's rare, by the way. That does not happen very often to me. That doesn't happen often to anybody. Look, S&P just got 2321.75, like I was saying. Not surprised to see it climb up here. Now, big negative divergence. Again, I'm not telling. I wouldn't go short here because I don't trade things at their all-time highs, or at least I never have since I've been watching this particular type of trading. So I just don't know how they react well enough to do it. But remember, I was saying before, all we're going to look for are pullback longs. Now, I can't tell you I would have taken this trade. I don't know that I would have. I should have, meaning there's everything here you want for it. Just like I should have taken this one. This one's not fair because I talked about it after it happened. But what am I talking about? I'm talking about consolidation, looking to get about halfway through it. I'm talking about overnight high, middle of the opening range. I have hidden divergence that we see in the BBs. Everything I'm talking about is legitimate. It's not that I'm making stuff up, but I didn't talk about it ahead of time, so I don't really count that as a planned trade. This one I talked about ahead of time, and this is really really no reason not to have been in this trade. So we should have had two winners today. Each one, let it just be 10 ticks, although they certainly both had more opportunity in them. This one, actually, I would not have used my 10 tick profit target because I've been saying all morning I'd rather be short than long. So this one, I would have been looking to get out pretty close to where I'm saying I would have wanted to get back long here. This would have been closer to about a 15 tick trade with some slippage. But that's two decent trades for the morning. If you took your entire position, if you took whatever your position is, let's just say you took 3 contracts here, 3 contracts here, you made 10 ticks on both, that's $200 per contract, like we were talking about yesterday. And that's on a very shitty trading day so far, very bad morning of trading, not too much price action, very tight range once we got into this consolidation. But we saw exactly what we were looking for. We planned it. We didn't execute it, all right, which I'm okay with. For now, sooner or later I will not be okay with that. Sooner or later it's got to be where you plan it, you trade it. That's it. You just have enough. I'll have enough confidence in what I'm seeing that I'm just going to do that. And that's exactly what happened here. I kind of talked myself out of a trade here with, well, we got above VWAP. VWAP held the support. Yeah, all right, that's all nice and good. But remember, here's our consolidation. Here's all the levels that we've been watching. Here's middle of the day. Come on, you need to be in a short here. So sooner or later the indecisiveness will go away. But really good from a dollar perspective. really good trading morning. 10 ticks on the way up, with the potential of more. Although that one doesn't upset me very much. I'm completely okay with not getting more than 10 ticks on the way up. 15 ticks on the way down. Again, even if all you got were 10, two 10-tick trades, that's great, especially in a morning like this.
Oh, it's flat, right?
All right, I am going to head out for the day. If you end up having a question, just text me or email me or call me, and then most cases I can answer it right on the spot. Like I don't need to look at the chart because I'll remember everything we did this morning. But if not, then tomorrow morning when we look at it again, I'll answer it. Look at the